I know that in a lot of my work I've always been interested in the changes that happen between the design of a space and how it gets used or interpreted by the world around it. That's really started for me in my studies at York University, which was a university that was built at the same era as Shift, like the late 60s, early 1970s, with architect designed spaces that had designed certain programs in mind about how students would gather or not gather and use spaces. And I don't know, it was always a bit alienating. It felt like going to university in a bus station, as I've said before. But I also found interesting the way that people would then misuse the spaces in terms of what the architects had intended. The way that, you know, an open, beautifully cast brutalist concrete wall is a very appealing place to paste a poster up. And these kinds of tactical reuses of spaces is something that I've always charted in the way that it kind of tests the hubris of the artist or the architect or the designer. And in a way, that's the starting point of this whole project, right? That Serra was given an opportunity to make this giant artwork, but it's in the world. And I wanted to see the different kinds of interpretations. So although people haven't really postered it, there's birds that land on it. It becomes habitat, right? It allows certain kinds of plant life to grow in the middle of a field. The local community walks their dogs, and you can see marks in the snow of people cross-country skiing past it. It has this, it becomes a really frustrating obstacle, I'm imagining, for a farmer who has to plow that field and, you know, probably breaks some of their equipment against when they strike the sculpture because it kind of is in the way. And so for me, that's kind of the root of a lot of my works, like what happens when there's the kind of design, strategic intention of the artist, and then what actually happens in the world with it. And so in a way, the works themselves are charting moments of these kinds of small interpretations, changes, or impositions that happen.